What's going on, guys? This is Cordell with the DWT, and we're fresh off the presses with the 2026 Royal Rumble. I'm going to talk about the men's match because that is fresh in my mind, and I want to talk about the good showing that we got with Obafemi. Obafemi's main roster debut was absolutely incredible. He ran through a lot of the guys at the beginning of the Royal Rumble, and he single handedly cleared out a lot of the big men. I like the fact that the showcasing was good, the power he illustrated, and the fact that the interesting fact that we started the match off and Braun Breaker didn't even get a fair shot. Man got attacked. He ended up getting stomped out and clotheslined over the top rope. So he's done. Obafemi bell rings, clothesline. We get Braun Breaker out of there very swiftly, very quickly. So right now that Vision storyline is picking up very aggressively. But after that, that led Obafemi on a tear. Damian Priest, Damian Priest couldn't hang on for too long one on one. Solo Sikoa held some work. Rey Mysterio held some work. A lot of bodies were dropping. So what I mainly want to discuss in this video is what I liked about the Rumble and what I did not like about the Rumble. And for the most part, everything flowed. Everything looked good. Everything was clean. There are certain eliminations during the Rumble that I just did not like, did not agree with. And we're going to start off with Rusev. Rusev has been off TV for quite some time, and I think a big body guy like him, even though we're trying to showcase Obafemi, I feel like he should have stuck around a lot more. I feel like they made him look like light work, and they got him out of there because someone like Rusev could be a good contender for the IC championship. So the fact that Rusev just got, tossed and sauced like that, big issue. Big issue for me. Again, he's not a major player, but that's not a good look. I would also like to say another elimination that didn't really sit well with me was LA Knight. So LA Knight, he came out and he did his thing. He got some retribution on the Vision. I think he got two of the guys out of there. Logan Paul ended up being left over in the fatal last four, but that was good retribution. But I feel like for LA Knight, for someone who got attacked, written off TV, and he's just coming back, like for me, he was one of the favorites to at least be in the top four or at least coming to win the Royal Rumble. But he got eliminated by Cody Rhodes, and there was no micro story to go with that elimination. And I felt like if something like where that were to happen, someone as a heel should have gotten out of it, eliminated him, or at least some sort of movement. So I feel like we're still in the same holding pattern with LA Knight. It was good to see him back, good crowd reaction, good pop, but there's nothing moving him forward, right? And let's talk about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar came in the ring and he did some real dominance, like got Obafemi in the German suplex. A lot of people are holding German suplexes. Javon Evans, Ilya Dragunov, Cody Rhodes, everyone's holding German suplexes. And we've seen a little bit of showcasing between Brock Lesnar and Oba, which was good. Like there's high impact there and a lot of anticipation. So they didn't really get into it. There were a lot of stare downs for, I would say, at least two other entrants before they actually went into getting physical, right? So I didn't really like that, but Brock eliminating Ilya Dragunov the way he did, the way he no-sold him, that's not a good look. Like Dragunov is one of the most, he's a mid-carder on SmackDown, and he's one of the most intense mid-carders on SmackDown. So for him to sit down and take all of his best shots, all the chops, all the attacks in the corner, and just discard him like waste, I feel like that brings Ilya's stock just way down. Like you're not trying to you can't make an impact on Brock Lesnar. I don't know. So I think that's a loss, and he's going to have to repackage himself, or people are going to look at this away, right? So I wouldn't say he's a fan favorite right out the rip, but he was someone who's building a stock, doing the U.S. championships, and the way he's been handling the other guys, Sami Zayn, Carmelo Hayes, it makes them also look bad as well, right? So I think that was an L take on how they took that situation down. Also, Brock Lesnar, his elimination was not impactful. It wasn't meaningful either. Brock Lesnar he got eliminated during Jey Uso's entrance, right? Like before he even ran it back, like it was so lackluster. I have never seen a situation where Brock just got eliminated, and there was no storyline driven motive behind it at all. It was literally Cody, LA Knight, double clothesline, eliminated. I felt like there was zero impact from the Vision and Brock Lesnar in that Rumble. Outside of Brock, getting his F5s in, getting Dragon Lee out, and doing his thing. There wasn't anything really there, right? So we got to utilize these moments in the Rumble and see what's going on. So those were my biggest no-nos for the night. Again, we never really got any nostalgic acts. We got no one from Blast from the Past. That's done. I think WWE's past that in their Rumble entrance and their surprises. I think they're just trying to make sure they expand the brand. Make sure you get your NXT guys. You make sure you get your AAA guys in, and you have your Raw and SmackDown. Oh, before I even forget, Trick Williams. Yeah, his elimination, like someone like that, when he came out, massive pop. People love his music. People love his energy. He should have lasted longer. He should have more of an impact in the Royal Rumble. All right, so this is just my opinion. This is me looking at this as a fan, being like, "Oh, I don't like that." Especially as an up and comer, Javon Evans lasted a lot longer than him in the match as well. So it goes to show that they're trying new things, but they haven't thought it out all the way through. And those are the top eliminations I didn't really mess with. I didn't feel like it had any impact, and it could have been a lot better. So what I would say is some things to take notes, because I think this is also shaping what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Cody got thrown over the top rope, held onto the rope, tried to skin the cat, Claymore. So Drew got him out of there, and Cody's out. And then, Jacobs, focused on seeing Drew. Roman throws him over the top rope. So now we have two bodies that, are eliminated. But it looks like they're playing into that storyline. It looks like at WrestleMania or maybe even at least Fastlane, we're going to see a triple threat because they've been involved with each other, and they're going to get to the bottom of what happened with Jacob costing Cody the championship. So we have a lot of motion and a lot of movement there. The important thing to note and remember is it's not Brock Lesnar. After Brock Lesnar eliminated Oba Femi, again, Oba, I felt like for someone who was there at number one, he should have been at least one of the guys who were the top four, or not the top four, but the remaining four participants in the Royal Rumble. I feel like he could have easily replaced Logan Paul. Like, why is Logan Paul top four? And I think this is the second time we've seen him in that situation where it's like, we're going to put him there. We're going to showcase him. Oba Femi should have been that guy. Oba Femi should have been that guy that you were going to showcase. If it wasn't going to be Royce Keys, or formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, Oba Femi should have been in that spot. Simply because he came out at number one, and it would have shown his dominance, especially to the main roster. We seen what he could do. We respect what he can do, but it's all about the optics, right? And again, I don't think anyone's really projecting or looking for Logan Paul to be champion, but if we're gonna build that final four spot, just make sure you have the right guys in play, because we could have had Oba instead of Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Gunther, Roman Reigns. But I digress. Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch on Logan Paul, gets him out of there. Randy catches Roman Reigns with an RKO. Gunther sneaks up on him, gets Randy Orton out of there, and then we're left with Roman Reigns and Gunther. Mind you, Gunther's already had a match with AJ Styles. He retired him. He came out to the ring. You could already see him limping from the calf crusher, but Gunther's already been weakened. He's already had a match. Roman Reigns just got RKO'd. Now we have a little bit of back and forth. Gunther puts Roman Reigns in a sleeper hold, and then they fight through, and eventually Roman runs to the turnbuckle. Gunther hits his head, spear thrown over the top rope. Roman Reigns is a 2-time winner. It's cool. Roman's been off the TV for quite some time, and based on what he was saying on Pat McAfee, I respect it. He has 5 kids. He's been carrying the company for quite some time. Want to preserve himself a little bit, so that's why he's been in and out, and given the opportunity for other guys to make a name for themselves, creative, doing their thing, build up new stars, so on and so forth. Cool. How do I feel about Roman Reigns winning? I feel like right now, based on his schedule and him not being on Raw or SmackDown or anything like that, this is the only way to really integrate him back into proper storyline because now he's the guy who gets to pick and choose who he wants to fight. Does he want to fight CM Punk, the Raw champion, or does he want to fight Drew McIntyre? These are the current champions at the moment. He gets to pick and choose. In his previous statement, he did say that the WWE Championship has the prestige. World Heavyweight Championship is the number two belt. So is it a situation where he goes for the Raw Championship and tries to elevate it and make it number one because he's the best, he's the tribal chief, or does him and Drew kind of go back and rekindle their feud? To me, it looks like Drew's probably already booked up. The right direction looks like it would be CM Punk or whoever's going to be champion because we still have to get through the elimination chamber. I don't think it's a bad win. There's a lot of guys in there that already had two wins in the Rumble. Roman Reigns has joined that list of men that now have two wins in the Royal Rumble. All in all, I would say the Royal Rumble was an 8. It was a good match. We had good showcasing. We got some new stars. We had some big bodies in there. But what I don't understand was why would you eliminate these guys so effortlessly and without any cause, right? The thought process is always to be creative and look at how we can pull that over. The only elimination I feel like they brought some continuity to was Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. It looks like these guys are tied to the hip. Their program is set. Everyone else just seemed like process of elimination outside of LA Knight getting back the two members of the Vision, but that was it. So that means that he's going to come back into the same situation. And then we have the Braun Breaker, getting stomped out. Now we could have some storyline of was that Austin Theory? Was that Seth Rollins? What's the situation there, right? So at least we have something to move forward to on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So again, I would give it an 8. I usually like my Royal Rumbles to have a special entrant, something that you can, go back to and be like, yeah, it was nice to see. It would have been great to see Jericho. I was wondering who that 30th spot would have been. Then I remembered Gunther said he's doing double duty. So he held down the last spot. He did his thing. And, ultimately he came up short, right? So that was the men's 2026 Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, congratulations. He's the 2-time Royal Rumble winner. And those are my thoughts on that. Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. There's not much for me to say. I'm not too sure what I was expecting out of that match, but Sami has won. He won the Fatal 4-Way as Saturday Night's main event. He's going against Drew McIntyre at the Rumble, and the match was pretty lackluster. It was pretty one-sided. Drew took him to school, and he's extended that losing streak to 12. So what does that mean for Sami? It means the same thing as it always meant. Sami wasn't meant to win the championship now, and I personally believe they're going to hold out till WrestleMania 43 next year in Saudi. They built this matchup. It's personal. He's never beaten Drew. He's never lost in Saudi, and he basically gets cooked, right? Put in a little bit of offense, but ultimately Drew took care of it. 2 claymores. He basically took the dog to the shed and put him down. It's not a completely a bad thing. I think it's going to be more sort of a tear jerker because he's lost in Saudi now. He's going to have to find a way to get to WrestleMania and he's going to win his championship there. And it's going to be a big moment. So I think it's just a preview what's to happen and what it looks like. At the end of the Royal Rumble, the pyros were going crazy. The graphics were going crazy. I think that'll be a great celebration for Sami Zayn then. But right now wasn't the time. Drew McIntyre has a lot of things going on, and he has more momentum. So it seems like him holding on to the championship for WrestleMania to continue on with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. I think that's the direction they may go. I would like to see if Orton can sneak his way into there because he's been overlooked a lot. But right now, it looks like that's the triple threat decision. That's the direction they're going with. So that's the thought process. That's the move. Disappointed that Sami couldn't get the W, but again, I think the bigger plan, the long-term plan is for him to go to Saudi WrestleMania 43 and get that first W. AJ Styles versus Gunther retirement match. That was a good match, right? I feel like they both brought their A games. AJ Styles doesn't look like he's missed a step. He still has the athleticism. He still has the speed. He still has the moveset. So it's just quite unfortunate that these were the stakes that needed to come for him for this match. And, what I did notice is that AJ did get a cut. It looked like he got a deep cut on his forearm and he started bleeding a lot. So it wasn't like profusely, but you can tell it was a deep cut. It was around his forearm. But he continued on, got some good offense. There was a situation where Gunther did catch him with a low blow during a referee spot. Him hit him with a clothesline power bomb. AJ kicked out, and then AJ was able to put Gunther in his own power bomb, pin him, kicked out, and there was a stylish clash. So AJ put up a good fight. AJ definitely put up a good fight. And, in my mind, I was hoping that AJ would have at least won to extend what he was going to do in WWE, but ultimately he lost. And the way he lost to me did make sense. Usually, when you have the arm and you do the arm drop, you get three of those. It's usually a one drop, two drop, three, call it. Gunther had AJ Styles in a sleeper. He tried to get out, almost got the ropes, pulled his arm back, synced it in, right? So when we get into the situation where the referee does the arm drop, there should be three of those. There's always three. I don't know why they did one. So the ending was kind of awkward. It reminded me of when Brock got the 3 count on Undertaker, and it didn't mesh right, and the streak ended. That's what it felt like. I don't know if it was a botched ending, but it's typically three arm drops, and it would have been more if it was like a 1, 2 fight through. I think they cut that piece a little short, and that's my only gripe on the match. Outside of that, it was a good match. AJ is officially done with the WWE. We all know that his contract expires in February. I thought they would have done an extension, make him do a little bit of a run, but that is the end of the WWE journey. After the match, AJ almost took off his gloves, was going to lay it in the ring, but he eventually didn't do that. He put up the P1 sign, went onto the turnbuckle, and he left, which leads me to believe that AJ has retired from WWE action and he will end his career in TNA. When they did their debut for AMC last month, or was it earlier this month? Doesn't matter. The details don't really matter. When AJ was there, he had a face-to-face with Kazarian, and he looked at the championship. So it looks like they're hinting at AJ is retired from WWE, took his gloves, and he will be moving on to TNA. So we'll just have to sit tight and see where it goes and see how long he probably does, maybe like a 6 month, maybe a year contract, just to finish out the timeline. And he probably most likely will sign a Legends contract and still be included in all the games. But as for WWE, that's it. Now we have the Women's Royal Rumble, and as you know, at this point in time, the winner is Liv Morgan. It came down to a final three situation where we had Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and Sol Ruka. So we all have them over the top rope. They're hanging. They're all skinning the cat. And then, they're fighting in position. So Sol Ruka was in the middle, Liv on the left, Tiffany on the right. And then, Sol Ruka ended up in the middle, did some attack. And she almost slipped, and Tiffany caught her, saved her, almost knocked her off the apron. And Sol Ruka tried to go for the Soul Snatcher, and Tiffany just threw her right out. And immediately after, Liv went in with the Oblivion and got her out of there. So she is the 2026 winner. And, the eliminations, there are some key eliminations that are very important and interesting, because it was actually Liv Morgan that eliminated Raquel, which was very shocking. They were working as a unit, but as soon as Raquel was able to get rid of, I believe it was Rhea Ripley, Liv got her out of there ASAP. ASAP. So I don't know if there's going to be a breakdown with the Judgment Day and, Raquel goes on her own, or will she forgive her simply because it was the Royal Rumble? So, there's some storylines to be seen there. Rhea Ripley was the one who eliminated Roxanne, gave her the Razor's Edge over the top rope. We've seen Lash Legend eliminate Jordan Grace and 4 others. So, very big body movements, long, strong showcasing. That's all I can really say. Very strong showcasing in that setup. We see Natty actually come back, and she's the one who eliminated Becky Lynch. So it looks like she's really gunning for that IC championship, but there have been small little doses of what's next to see in the championship realm, and that's the situation there, right? So again, overall, I think the beginning of the Rumble for the women started off a bit slow. I don't want to say lackluster, but it did start to pile up a little bit. And then once we got around, I would want to say like 22. Once we got to like 22, 24, things started to pick up, and more teamwork was starting to happen, more eliminations and bunches started happening. And then again, I've already told you how the match ended. So again, congratulations to Liv Morgan. It was kind of expected in a sense. I knew Tiffany was going to come back. I don't know if she would have had an impact of winning the Royal Rumble and becoming champion since she's been off, but she's back on the roster. We need the depth. Right now, the SmackDown roster has been very light since everyone's been focusing on the tag team championships. But now we have another fresh body back. So I'm hoping that the 3 Hour SmackDown has some holes that can be filled, and the women's division, at least on the single side, can pick up a bit more. But that's it. That is Royal Rumble 2026 in Saudi Arabia. Now we are fully on the road to WrestleMania, and we're getting ready for the next pay-per-view, which will be Fastlane. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a good one.